Yeah, this is Academy of Tone 122 with special guest Manuel Kettenring again.
Cheerio!
Yeah, and today is a special day because Manuel has a little back problem, which is a thing that some guitar players, including myself, have once in a while. So when he's not smiling all the way, that's the reason for it.
Yeah, so please forgive me.
Yeah. But I mean, you mentioned that the seat is okay.
Yes.
But from my experience, I remember when I had back problems, it's very important, kind of, yeah, to have a comfortable seat in a way, and then try to get the whole stiffness out of the body. And we talked about Voltaren cream, which is kind of a thing that relaxes the muscles and stuff. This happens to all of us. I know so many guitar players. Last week I've been on tour with Ben Granfeld from Finland, and he also had a stiff neck. So, at night we did a little massage and the thing. So it happens, and good news is if you do take care a little bit about your stretching and stuff, it will also disappear. Yeah. Okay, that's just the introduction for the health. We should actually do a full episode on musicians, how to stretch fingers and whatnot. Yeah. As we're getting older. Getting older is the next bullet point on my list. Happy birthday, Mr. Rudolf Schenker. Because, it's his birthday. He's turning 74, I guess, today. And this guy is fit. I'm really, really impressed about Rudolf.
So maybe we should have done a Scorpions song today.
It's like... Hey, do we have the clip of Rudolf? I had the pleasure to meet him, to interview him. And I think he plays also the Mercury in this little thing. Check that out. Let's watch the clip. Academy of Tone. So this was Rudolf to show out us how it really works. Downstrokes, keep it simple.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the philosophy of Rudolf. He's the guy that he's not the virtuoso, and he's totally fine with that. But he says
that's the power of playing simple. I saw an interview with Victor Wooten. That's very, very interesting, and he talks about the bass player Victor Wooten, and he talks about that issue, and he says the people won't remember what you were noodling or playing. They just remember how you made them feel. And that's the power of playing simple.
See, and you mentioned a lot of live concerts that you were attending this summer.
Yeah.
And this kind of, when we spoke before, doing the episode here, we always talk a little bit about what's new, and then you mentioned so you have seen Rammstein?
Yes.
And so, what is your impression about Rammstein?
How can you explain a Rammstein concert? It's
physical experience.
Yeah, it's such a physical experience. I mean, the show itself is bombastic and I've never seen something like that before. Fire everywhere, and the sound. I mean, they are using a maximum oversized PA system, but the sound of the Rammstein concert was probably the best live sound that I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm. See, so these guys, even though they are not the best soloists, which is another discipline. they know what they are doing and they know their game and yeah.
I mean, I have to say that it's a different. How can you explain it? It's a different approach of a live performance
Right.
than, for example, when you compare it to bands like AC/DC
Yeah, sure.
or Kiss, or Kiss show is also a lot of
Impressive,
flames
yeah.
and impressive, but I tell you, Rammstein was incredible.
Yeah, I had the pleasure to talk to Paul Landers a little bit and found out that he still loves his very transistor sound.
Yeah.
He's a Tech 21 user,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's kind of using that thing straight into desk, no real amps. And the other guy, Richard Kruspe,
Kusper, yeah.
he is kind of the rectifier guy.
Yes.
And so they kind of blend two sounds together to create that wall of sound.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's something that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
you witnessed it because you have seen the real show, and
Yeah.
it works. It seems to work. No complaints.
Yeah, yeah. It's really, really impressive.
Okay, what else? You were at the Toto concert,
Toto last week in Luxembourg.
Yeah,
And Toto, I've seen them now 4 times.
right.
Toto is always probably one of the best live, just musical wise.
Yeah.
The best performance
Players.
playing. Yeah, best players. It's just incredible.
Musicianship.
It's not a really loud concert. That's the big difference between Rammstein or Toto.
Yeah.
It's not really that loud, but you can hear almost every musician. If you focus on the keyboard player or on the percussion player,
Right.
you can hear everything.
Very clear.
Very
and-
clear, transparent. And Luke is still playing like. What can you say about this guy?
Yeah,
He's the
got,
man.
He's got the chops, and he invented
Yeah.
the whole thing. I mean, also when you listen to look at it from the early days, I remember when I was a teenager, I listened to Toto 4 and a lot of the session work he did for, Michael McDonald, Keep Forgetting, where he just played like, simple. Groovy stuff,
Yeah.
even on Michael Jackson records, and it is not about. I mean, he can shred, and he is great at all that, but as
Yeah.
a session guy, he invented the. I called it always the Amikacke, but American shit. Actually, this is the strange,
Yeah.
but in positive way.
Yeah,
I was impressed about
Yeah,
that. I mean, with the Jay Graydon guys and the LA studio scene, and yeah, he's the original master of that, inventor of a lot of things that became household things for guitar players.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and what other concert did you?
Queen.
Ah.
Queen and Adam Lambert in Cologne. Yeah, I mean, what can you say about Brian May? He's still playing. Yeah, all the songs are sounding great. Roger Taylor is, you can see he's getting old a little bit now.
Is he losing the time, or is it?
No, he's not losing the time, but he does not have the punch anymore.
like he used to.
Yeah.
Like,
And they have a second guy on the stage, which they say he plays percussion, but you can see that he almost plays every hit that Roger does exactly in the same way. Yeah.
Okay, Mother's Little Helper or Roger's Little Helper.
But it was a really, really nice concert. And of course, Adam Lambert is a
Killer singer.
incredible killer singer. Yeah.
So, okay, and did you have any problems with COVID attending these concerts, or was
No.
just back to normal?
Back to normal, yeah.
Yeah, that's good, because I have played a few gigs myself the last 2 weeks, and Well, most of them were back to normal, except for one where it was a bit funky to wear masks on the way to the stage. But it's like they had their rules. But it's good to be more or less back to normal.
Yeah.
And I think it feels so good as a musician. It feels so good. The audience was happy, and although there were not as many people coming, especially for the indoor things, but we had super hot weather here in Germany too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone to a club gig myself. So we had like 40 degrees Celsius on stage and sweating like a pig. But yeah, we had fun. And
and I forgot one concert. And I saw Steel Panther
aha, see.
in Saarbrücken here.
In garage
Steel Panther,
or where did
garage,
it-
yeah.
Garage, okay. Yeah, okay. I mean, we have a few places, but the garage is for the heavy guys usually. And then there is Kongresshalle.
Yeah.
Arch Enemy is coming to Kongresshalle,
Oh, wow.
which I have the pleasure to play with Jeff Loomis and at Guitar Summit. And then a few months later or a few weeks after, he's playing Saarbrücken. So you never know what happens. I'm learning the songs, by the way. This opening song was Jump, which is on my set list for the Guitar Summit. And this will be performed with Pete Thorne. So Pete will then play your part, and I will play the keyboard part without being a keyboard player. So I kind of... And okay, I have to talk a little bit about this Van Halen thing, because when I was a teenager, I actually played that with my old synthesizer, which is a Roland JX3P, and I tried to use it yesterday. So I put it, I took it off the case. And I think we have a little photo from the case with the pretty authentic Van Halen sticker, which is actually from the 80s. So this is like me today, but the stickers and the synthesizers from the 80s. And the truth is that I switched it on, and my synthesizer didn't work anymore because the battery of the synthesizer is empty. I tried to fix it, but I didn't succeed, so there's more shit happening or broken with this. But I thought I can give you a little insight into keyboards, or what kind of tone is this? So, as you can see, it's all white keys, and it's quite interesting. Back in the 80s, when I was a bit more in practice with keyboards, I didn't play keyboards for years. As you can tell by my synthesizer's battery is empty. This takes at least 10 years to get empty. Anyway, and there's a thing that came to my mind, because guitar players that also play keyboards or other instruments, they sometimes take ideas from one instrument and put it on another instrument.
Yeah.
And here is what I found is kind of interesting. If you just check the rhythm, a keyboard player wouldn't play bup, bup, but if you play guitar, I mean, this is the way. Wait a minute, I put this thing over here and try the guitar. If you play eighths with the whole riff, like... It's a guitar riff.
Yep.
So, I mean, jump is a guitar riff on a keyboard.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and this is why a lot of keyboard players, they don't get that stubborn guitar player's riff. You know, it's like you have to feel the eights even if you don't play them. That's the secret how to play jump right on the keyboard. You know, think of like. Okay, sorry, my pick. Okay, so that's one thing, and if you feel the eights while you play the keyboards, then you do it correctly. But I see so many keyboard players that play. You know, it's like, huh? What's the meaning?
Yeah.
You know, but you have to do 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 do. This is like, that's the power behind the riff, and you have to get that right, or you are a lousy, shitty keyboard player, like I was in my early days. Where's my photo album? I have to show you. This is the proof. This is so cool. Wait a minute. This is me in my when I was 19, 20 years old. Look, I look like Duran Duran. See, with sunglasses behind my keyboard tower. And I tell you something, I've done this a few live gigs with backing vocals, and of course I looked very pop style as we did in the good old 80s, which are hip again when you listen to the radio, pop music from today and the production and the sounds, they all want Phil Collins, doo-dum, doo-dum, doo-dum,
Yeah.
in the air tonight drums and whatnot. Anyway, even the bad taste comes back. Okay, back to the keyboards on the guitar thing. There's one thing which I kind of, when you listen to the middle part, it's like. So, I mean, this kind of arpeggio is the easiest thing on the keyboard because, I mean, I'm the lousiest, shittiest keyboard player ever, self-taught. But it's like, it's impressive to do this kind. Oh, lousy fucker. So, and all you do is like, you repeat that pattern and then you move. Or is it starting here? I don't know. And then there's some other. And look at my fingering. It's like kindergarten. Yeah. But it's a hit. So don't worry about technique. Music is about having a meaning. And if it's simple technique on a keyboard, you can still have a world-class song and a hit, and it's still cool, you know? So. And the one thing about Van Halen is always they had great songs, and then they always had some extras in there, like, you know, with a weird beat kind of thing. Where it's like, where's the one? You know, it's like, okay, 3, 4, 3, 4, and then we are back to 4, 4. And then like the key change for the guitar solo.
Yeah.
It's another thing. It's so weird. Nobody else does that.
Yeah.
But Van Halen.
Yeah.
So somebody was clever, and I think it was Eddie. Okay. Any questions about Van Halen? We have to do a special episode. But this was like my little comment when it's. Haki Brügger, der korrekte sind für ein OBXA OB8 Factory Patch C7 filter open like on Plexi and it's just VCA and ADSR for fast attack and fast release. Guess what? I do have an Oberheim expander upstairs, and that's kind of, I know how that sounds, but I know the OBXA because we had a keyboard player back those days that of course had the original, and he had a CS80 which is the Yamaha thing that Toto had. Heavy like fuck, because it was like weight, what is it? Keys with weight on it. It's like a Fender Rhodes just for a synthesizer.
Yeah.
And then a CP70 Yamaha grand piano. I mean, talking about back problems, you get them with the old original keyboards. Okay, but the Oberheim, back in, I mean, still till today, the Oberheim is probably the most powerful and most aggressive synthesizer. For instance, I have produced some music for television, and I think I even did some radio jingles with the news. And so I record all my stuff with plugins, but only the beep, beep was the Oberheim, because it cuts through.
Yeah.
No matter how loud you mix it, it is the analog magic.
Yeah.
So that's the Oberheim. Any more questions here? I'm reading a lot of comments already. Everything goes better but past. Maybe you can play Augsburger Puppenkiste and make it a new hit. Yeah, that's a good one. But that's a very German song. Yeah, the tone is in the fingers. Yeah, but it's also in the phrasing. That's the message from this one. That you okay, rhythm counts. Yeah, I agree. Giffy Marauda. Julian, hi, Julian, our French friend. Can't wait to see you Van Halen episode. Okay, that's okay. Thanks for the topic. Yeah, we should do a Van Halen episode. Yes,
we already did a Van Halen episode, but
there's room for more.
Yeah,
and especially with Manuel. That's okay.
Maybe we should do one about not the old. We already did one about the Brown sound.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do one
of the later.
Of the later one.
Sammy.
Yeah, Sammy Hagar.
Yeah. Of course, Eddie is such a great, or Van Halen is such a great band. And there's a long history. I mean, even the guitar from Ronnie Montrose, who played with Sammy Hagar, is the guitar that Peter Weihe bought.
Yes.
Which I could play a couple of times. It's a 58 Les Paul
58,
that he sold for shitloads of money. And blah, blah, blah. So there's always great things that comes to mind. Best part of Van Halen was they were the rock band with the humor factor. Yes, I agree.
Totally, yeah.
There was a lot of great, funny energy on stage. Okay, and so mute the keyboard. And here we go. This is the Eddie. Roland Eddie plastic keyboard. It's, I mean, you can, the thing where you have to tube and blow. This sounds similar. But anyway, it works. So plastic, fantastic. Okay. We have so many topics. Can't wait to hear you. Wet, dry, wet. That's the topic, and that's something.
Yeah, that's one of our topics today.
Yeah, and this is something we can do with the AMPX once we are at the level to show you that. But this is part of the concept that this is possible. So we have to wait for that, and then we can make this a nice episode. Dizzy Guitar Thomas, warum heißt der Brown Sound eigentlich Brown Sound? Why is the Brown Sound called Brown Sound?
So I heard a story.
Okay.
I don't really know if it's true or not, or if it's just a rumor.
Yeah.
But I heard a story that the Brown Sound originally was not meant for Eddie's guitar tone. It was meant for Alex's snare drum sound.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I don't, like I said, I don't know if it's true or not, but the people changed the Brown sound to Eddie's guitar tone. and not to
drum
Alex
sound.
drum sound, because also Alex
drum sound is signature.
Something very special.
Yeah, his skins with the big point, black, whatever. I don't know what skins he's using, but this I remember those what is it, drum heads.
Yeah.
I'm not Remo pinstripe, and then there's I forgot about the names of drums. Don't ask me. But the way he tunes the whole kit, I mean, it's signature. The first snare on a Van Halen record tells you this is Alex Van Halen.
Exactly.
So it's a lot of signature tones in that band.
Yeah.
One thing that I think there is a brown. Brown is something that goes back to Marshalls also. Maybe that's the story. See, I have a loft tone brown source, haha. And so this band, Van Halen or Eddie, made the word brown a household quality word in the guitar world. Because everybody wanted to get that Van Halen tone. And I think we did some episode about that already, early 30s or whatever, Academy of Tone, something. Type in Academy of Tone, Eddie Van Halen, and you'll find some. And it was a unique adventure how to get a tone that was more aggressive, less vintage, and still, had the punch, the aggression without being too cold. Actually, the brown sound is something. It's an amp on fire without being muddy.
Yeah.
That could be one description. And we have actually nicely prepared stuff that people used back in the days.
Doesn't look very professional, but it works great.
So we have a bunch of those classic pedals from the old days. This is my original OD1 from whatever, late 80s or 90s. And whenever I bought it when it kind of came out. This is a new SD1, and we have the Tube Screamer.
That's also an original one?
Yeah, that's an original one. And this is the stuff that we put in front of the amp to show you the pedals.
And also the difference how they react with, especially with the vintage channel of
the
the
AMP1. Maybe you can play the amp as it is first, without any of the pedals.
So
I put you in the middle. Wait a minute, now you are in the middle.
So that's the basic sound of the vintage channel. Although the sound is already it's tight, it still has a lot of I don't want to say muddiness, but you still can feel there is some rumbling bass.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and we can try to tighten that up even more with whatever, the Tube Screamer.
Let's start with the Tube Screamer.
Yeah, it gives you a bit more gain.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I have to change the battery because
Also a little bit more focus in the mids.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll use a little less overdrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try the OD1.
Okay.
Kind of the same idea,
Yeah.
but the mids are different.
Yeah.
And also I call it the thump, or the chuck.
The chuck.
It's more tight.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have the SD1.
One.
That's a completely different character.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we have one guy, Euge Valovirta, who is a big fan of the Iridium classic channel in combination with that. Let me use the classic.
Yeah.
Just
I can imagine why he likes it, because the classic channel is already more more tight, more compressed, and in combination with the SD1, you have very, very smooth overdrive sound. It's very smooth.
very rich and
Rich, and I get.
okay, yeah. Yeah, that's a classic thing, having an amp kind of boosted with an overdrive pedal. It's called OD1 and SD1, which is super overdrive or tube screamer. This is it is not like a booster. It's, even though they actually don't have that much gain.
Yeah.
But it's they have a slight kind of overdrive plus that frequency shaping thing in combination with the amp tone.
You know, what I would like to have is just the EQ curve of those pedals.
This is what we are doing here.
Yeah.
But and with what
Sometimes
are we,
I don't even need the distortion of
Yeah.
that, but I want to have the EQ curve of them.
yeah. So that's something when we talk about AMPX, it is when you kind of recreate one of those pedals, you get EQ curves from wherever, at the first stage of the pedal, at the last stage of the pedal, in between. So you collect EQ curves, because that's half of what these things are doing. And then you get also the clipping stage or stages, depending on, this thing is super easy. The SD1 is a bit more, but basically all these pedals, there's not that much in there, as we can see, especially not in the new ones. See, I can even put my face in there. just to show you, this is a big box, and I can kind of even put that in there. So that it's very few components, but it doesn't matter. It's a spice. this spices up your sound, and you have to analyze it. This is what we are doing, and to understand the cooking recipe of each of the pedals.
Yep.
And I totally agree, because if you could get those pedals without that drive thing, the signal would even be cleaner.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing that we can do here too. So we can decide if we have that pedal just as the frequency curve or as the frequency and drive curve to be totally authentic. And we can, if it's not needed, we don't get the extra noise and fizz. And
That's great.
yeah. So that's the
great.
advantage once you kind of analyze the DNA, and you can use the bits and pieces, and then you can still decide to make a version without the side effects, or with just the EQ curve or whatever. So
I have a question about
Yeah.
that. So do you get rid of all the noise when you just engage the EQ curve?
well, let's put it that way. If you have the EQ curve, you have a circuitry that is way simpler. And if that EQ is just the way we design our EQs, it's very, very let's say noise reduced as possible. Why? Because we need hundreds of points in that circuitry where we can EQ something. It's not 100, but it's a lot, nearly. Okay, and then if you would have an active standard EQ like the good old, 5-band EQ for each of the, it would be when you switch it on, no fun. So therefore, you have to come up with EQ designs that only create noise for what they change. Remember the good old Mindprint dual DTC dual tube channel, which is a studio device. I was also working on that, and that goes back to the massive passive from Manley, and the concept from this is to have an EQ that is kind of only the signal that is changed creates that extra noise.
Okay.
It's a way easier design. So when you look at the schematic of one of these, there's kind of your buffer at the input, then there is kind of a clipping stage, and there is on the buffer there is the EQ shaping or part of the EQ shaping, and then there's maybe a post EQ because there's a tone or something like that, and there's your next thing. And when you get rid of the clipping stage, you get rid of a lot of noise.
Okay.
So, and that's in the end something that we can use to get cleaner and less noisy.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. And in this pedal, it is like it is. I mean, you get the full. Your microphone is turning around again.
Microphone here.
Yeah.
Okay, should be fine.
Yeah. So the thing is, when you have the pedal, you always get the full package. And then when you decrease the overdrive, sometimes the design is not like you get a super clean sound. It is still, because they were originally designed to do not what we are using it for, with nearly no gain. It was actually designed to be an overdrive pedal. And when I bought it as a blues overdrive in front for my Fender.
Yeah.
And then I used more gain, but it's much better pre-EQ than a blues overdrive.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want to buy a good blues overdrive, buy a good BD, Blues Driver 2, or this rip-off by a Chinese company, Hot Tone. It's the copy. That sounds like something. Or by a Nobles, these are the ODR 1. These are like classic sounding overdrive pedals. But the way we use these pedals, it's kind of to tweak the overdriven sound to the max. And that that's basically what happened in the 80s. And this is kind of the link where we go back to Van Halen and this new generation of guitar tones.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and talking 80s, we have chorus, because I'm not the chorus expert. My CE1 got lost somewhere, and then I don't have a good chorus anymore. And we have the TC, which is a classic. And this comes from Christian Konrad, by the way, who works at 6 and 4 music store here in the area.
Maybe we should go clean.
Yeah.
And demonstrate it.
Where's that magic? Okay, talking about these chords. Okay, just here, the little guitar lesson in between.
Yeah.
Where are we? I have to plug my, you know. I think the clever thing about this first chord is this is not a root note.
Absolutely,
It is the fifth.
That's why every guitar player I know plays it wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody starts.
It's the major third, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which goes then to G minor.
Yeah.
The thing about the extension notes is also great, because it's a G minor with a 7, but the 4 or 11, it's a 7, 11. And that's a beautiful chord.
Yeah. And then it goes to an F9.
F9.
The original player
From Wendy and Lisa and Prince played it.
Plays it like. And then is the second chord that everybody plays wrong.
Yeah.
It's actually not a sus2. It's that one.
And I know this is the hard one on stage, you know, especially. I mean, this is easy to play, but this chord has so much more color. It's so fruity. It has this kind of.
Different feeling.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Pay attention to details. And then it's like there's the extra note that makes that chord the beautiful chord. Okay, this was just a little hint here.
Yeah. But I also use it because, I mean, I like it. I use it when I play distorted. Because it just it
widens the space.
Yeah, it widens my sound. I know there are a lot of people who do not like it. Dry signal more. But you know, that's kind of the idea of what Eddie also did. He played, of course, in the 90s. He played his wet, dry, wet system. I know that he didn't use a chorus pedal. He used a wet, dry, wet system with left
Eventide.
Eventide, yeah, and the
H3000,
detune.
yeah.
He detuned the left and the right side, and so he blended this sound together.
Sure.
But in the end, he got exactly the same result
As a chorus.
as a chorus.
Yeah. So this eventide sound, I remember those days. This was the holy grail for vocals. So when you came into a studio, in the studio, you know, when the singer, the lead voice is going on, and then it's like, it always, what can you do with the lead vocals? Okay, the lead vocals need to be fully present in the mix, but on the other hand, it needs to be, you know, it needs to be flying on top of the whole mix.
Yeah.
So, and the challenge was always how to get the lead vocals kind of big and huge and wide in every dimension. So dimension C, chorus, haha. And on the other hand, the eventide. And what happening there is like they have a fixed pitch, like 9 cents plus on one side and 9 cents minus on the other side.
Yeah.
So, and the dry signal in the middle is kind of 0%, no change.
Yeah.
And then it kind of really widens the signal. And for the mix, it's kind of like in a band with only one guitar player. It sounds like, man, this guitar is massive. It's from here to there, like the lead vocals. And this is where Eddie probably discovered it in the studio. And then he came up with the idea to have that live with a wet, dry, wet system.
Yeah.
And this is and the result for this program, I used that myself too, more on vocals than on the guitar. On the guitar, I'm more the vintage guy.
Yeah.
But I know there's a magic to the tone. I would also describe it as a color similar to that chord, where there's a fruity note, and this effect kind of has a icing on the cake. You know, it's kind of the extra topic that roundens the edges, that makes the whole thing a certain taste.
Yeah, and it's something that makes especially the 80s very special.
In that respect.
Yeah. Especially when I go to live shows.
Yeah.
And I see a top 40 rock band playing. And the guitar player only has a dry signal, just a mono dry signal. I mean, that signal works maybe in your band, in Rock Anarchy, very well,
70s,
perfect.
60s,
Yeah.
but 80s is
But
a different.
If you want to play in an 80s tribute band or in a cover band, you need to have that really wide sound on stage to give the
atmosphere.
The atmosphere, right?
It is a room. It's an atmosphere you live in. I remember my teenage years being kind of in the 80s, and I remember that feeling of you switch on the chorus, on the synthesizer, and it's like, oh wow, man, I take drugs without taking drugs. You know, it's like that's the effect coming from the 80s. You know what? I have an idea how to fix it. I make the cable. Oh fuck. Yeah. Okay. Good idea. Bad. Try this.
Yeah.
Don't look at it. It will work.
Okay.
Okay. That's the magic of the 80s, and that's why chorus. Yeah.
Yeah. And you wouldn't even recognize how many bands used the chorus for their music.
Police.
Purple Rain is probably the
best example.
But let's switch to clean again. Here's a next example.
Yeah. this is
You
now
won't get that tone without a chorus.
Mojo hand effects. What is it called? Chorus flanger.
Chorus flanger.
And what's the title? Swamp? No, what is it? Train?
Swim team.
The swim
The
team.
Mojo hand effects swim team chorus.
Okay, just to. Yeah, I got this from the guys here in town, Lupa's Paradise, that do boutique pedals. So this is like, some rare boutique stuff. But when I played it, I had it on slow.
Compared with the TC.
The clarity of this TC was always spot on, and I know why, because the frequency range of the detuned signal is kind of wide open, so it's higher. And the Mojo is more like the CE1, where it's a darker pitch signal.
Yeah, it sounds more wet.
Yeah. Anyway, and for fun we have a cheapo, so you know that boutique is boutique.
Let's compare it with the TC.
Yeah. So you know why there is the real deal, and it's okay for what it costs, but it is not what it's not a benchmark.
Definitely.
And what is the last one?
The last one.
Liquid Sky.
Liquid Sky. Well, of course. Of course, Andy Summers.
Yeah.
I don't know if he uses any clean tone without chorus.
Yeah, I mean, he has. It's actually a kind of a flanger that he used a lot of electric mistress, I heard, but I'm not the biggest fan. But this kind of modulation is part of the 80s.
Yeah, but also for the metal guys. I mean,
Yeah.
Let's speed it up a little bit. And we are in Metallica zone.
Cool.
So there is tons of music from the 80s that use chorus signals. If you really want to make it original, you need chorus.
Okay, so that's important because when we talked about what can we do and what are the effects, and they said, oh, I'm this kind of chorus guy, when I'm not. And then I thought, that's a chance to have somebody there who really understands chorus the way it is. I do understand it too, but I'm not playing in the 80s band. That's funny. I grew up in the 80s, so I know all the sounds. I've recorded a lot like that in the studio also, but in my bands I was always like, I remember there was David Bowie coming out, Let's Dance, and there was Stevie Ray Vaughan, and this was my guitar tone. Like, oh man, what is this guy? And then I bought a Fender Super Reverb because of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and this was kind of old school 50s, 60s blues rock, you know. And this is funny, but
I see David in the chat. Hey David, by the way. Zach Wild also used the chorus, of course. I mean, he's the chorus beast.
Hey, can you reach out for that pedal?
Yeah, of course.
This is the Zach Wild MXR, the Wild Overdrive, which is something like all these we have here, and it's basically a tube screamer with a different mid-focus. So, Zach Wild. Yeah. Again, see, these guys have the cooking recipes, you know, going back to the 80s. And Zach Wild. David Matei. Any other question? Hi, Thomas. I just want to let you know I got an Iridium last week. And it's incredible. Okay. Well, thank you.
Where did you buy it? No.
Okay, no. Hey, actually, we should talk about this because I will make a few trips in the future, and one trip is also to come to your kind of new place where you work now, which is the Kirsteiner Musikhaus, right?
Yeah, Kirstein.
Kirstein,
Right.
and that's close to kind of, it's not close to Munich, but it's kind of, there's Munich and there's
It's in the middle of Bavarian nowhere. No. It's Munich is an hour away. And it's an hour drive. In the south you have Garmisch-Partenkirchen, which is also 45-50 minutes drive.
Right.
In the west there is Kempten, maybe, and somewhere in between.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm going there on, when is it actually?
17th of September.
Let me see. Yeah, it's called the MusikConnect, Saturday, 17th of September. And I'll be there. I do a workshop. I'll play a little bit, and that's a good event. And I'm very happy that dealers make events because after COVID, and it's good that we get back to normal.
Yes.
And I think it's good that we reconnect with the people. Just talking about events, just before we get into your event deeper, I just mentioned that I will play this Saturday in Tettnang, the open air. Tettnang is on Bodensee, Bodensee Lake Constance. The English word is Lake Constance.
Lake Constance.
Because Constance is the city
okay.
connected.
Really?
Yeah. So Bodensee doesn't exist in English. It's Lake Constance.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's also this area in front of the Alps. So when you are on the Bodensee and when you swim in the warm water of the Bodensee, because we had high temperatures, you can still see the snow of the Alps.
Wow. Cool.
So, and I'm playing there on this Saturday, Tettnang Bahnhof, which is, you can find it. It's an open air with a Tin Mother is the opening act, and we play there with Tony Carey, the keyboard player of Rainbow, and in Germany he had hits as a solo artist as well, and playing with Maffei. And Tony Carey is a character.
Yeah.
And he's a great singer too. And talking about singers, we have David Reedman also with the Rock Anarchy. And the thing why Tony plays with us is because he says, I'm too old for rehearsals. We just go on stage and leave me. I don't need a set list. It's like, hey guys, let's have fun. And but we play Rainbow songs and he knows them, and he knows them better than we know. And he tells you, oh, we play the 3 bars.
I mean, I don't know if you remember that, but I had the pleasure to meet him in summer 2020.
Okay.
When you played in Püttlingen.
Yeah. Yeah. We played.
We actually drove him back to his hotel.
See. The thing we played with him also this summer in Püttling. It's kind of our yearly Tony Carey week, which is great because when I plan when I do my bookings with the COVID thing, I was so lazy because I was frustrated in calling, the clubs again, and then there was nothing happening because of new regulations, and we don't know. But there were a few gigs that never stopped. And Püttling, because it's outdoor, was on last year, was 2020. Any year it was happening. And the same thing like in Tettnang, it's always happening. We find solutions. We play outdoors, we play restricted with masks, without, upside down, I don't care, but we play. And so this Saturday it's that thing. And then on Sunday I'm playing here with Alex Bayroth. Alex Bayroth. This is his signature guitar. And we're doing here the 6 and 4 thing on Sunday for the guys from the Saarland. And then there is this huge event, the Guitar Summit.
Yeah.
Are you going?
Yes, I will be there on Friday.
Okay.
Just one day, but should be enough.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's a very nice venue where the German music, guitar and bass scene is exhibiting products, where there's tons of workshops, and I have the pleasure, honor, and work to organize the Guitar Summit All-Star Band, which is on a Saturday evening, which is then the 10th of September. And we will be like Saturday evening final, 9:30 till end. And here's the list of people joining in, which is scary to me. Jeff Loomis.
Wow.
I mean, for those guys who know, he's a metal god.
I am already shaking.
Yeah, and I can tell you, the guy is the sweetest and nicest guy ever.
I know. I saw a lot of interviews with him.
Yeah.
And he's always so nice to the people.
Absolutely.
He's probably the best metal player actually out there, but he's
no ego,
yeah,
super
no
sweet.
Yngwie Malmsteen ego.
Yeah. So super Jeff Loomis. So this will be one of the Pete Thorne. We all know him from
he's also very nice.
Very nice guy. I met him in LA this year, and then Henrik Freischlader, which is a German, very respected blues player.
Yeah.
When Bonamassa comes to Germany, Freischlader is usually kind of joining in, or at least they meet. They are kind of buddies. So in the good old days where Bonamassa was still playing small clubs for 17 euros, where I play for 20 euros these days, maybe sometimes 22. And Bonamassa plays now for 100 or whatever. He tries to get the big money. But this is, Freischlader he's the real deal musician. He lives and breathes his thing, and he's a great singer as well. So then there's Sarah Longfield. I don't know much about her. The only thing I know about her is she's doing crazy tapping. And then there's Chris Buck. I don't know if you know the guy. He's a guy from the UK.
No.
He was there last summit, and somebody said, "Oh, there's Chris Buck," and I have no idea. What shall we do with him? And then I simply gave him my 61 Strat and said, "Hey, you will have fun now on stage,"
okay.
because somebody said, "This guy needs to be on. I'm just the MD."
Okay.
And so that's me or you. And this was kind of a last minute thing. And then I heard a guy playing like, fuck, this guy is cool. I mean, and it's like, play some other guy's guitar, go on stage, and he was cool. Yeah. So Chris Buck is there. Kafir Okayon,
very nice guy.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure to do a presentation on the last guitar, or was it the last Guitar Summit? The Guitar Summit? No, 2020 was no Guitar Summit.
2019 was the last one.
2019 was the last, yeah. That was the Guitar Summit where I had the pleasure to do a presentation with him. So he was playing and giving the people examples of how you could sound with, of course, with using Kettner amps.
Back then, yeah, sure.
Back then. And it was very, very nice to do that presentation with him. He's a very nice guy and a cool guitar player.
Yeah, it's a very nice guy, and he will open the show with me with a surprise.
Okay.
So let's see what that will be. Then there's Henrik Danhage, who is kind of I don't know if he's Swedish, some Scandinavian metal hard rock guy, and he asked for something that I would do with Rock Anarchy, but harder. He asked for what was the music? The Lemmy, Motorhead. Motorhead meets Van Halen meets something.
Okay.
So high energy and then my dear colleague, very tasty, great guitar player Markus Demel. We will play together 2 songs, and we have a killer band with Henrik Linder from Dirty Loops.
Oh,
I mean,
I love that band.
yeah.
This is how modern pop music should sound.
Okay.
This is they are probably the best 3-piece band that's out there.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's very scary.
I will find out that night, because I will probably call him one of these days. I sent the emails with a song list. We have no time to rehearse. We will. It's kind of a blind date, more or less.
If you haven't heard that, you gotta check out.
I listen to the music. I know how good
the Dirty
he is.
Loops version of Thriller.
Okay, I check that out. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, I'll definitely check that out. So, and then we have Julia Hofer, who's female bass player, and she's doing more the rock stuff at the end of the show when we go with Jeff Loomis. And
Isn't she the woman who does all the Thomann bass stuff?
Yeah. So she's like online, very
Yeah.
famous, but I think she's Austrian. I called her
I
a
think
couple.
so, yeah.
Yeah, but she was in Italy on vacation, I think. So, and Annika Nilles was supposed to be the drummer, but she got a call from Jeff Beck. So last minute, we don't have it. So good friend Ralf Guske is always there, and he's also a killer drummer.
Yeah.
And the good thing about Ralf is he is so steady and stable and never gets any nervous. I mean, whatever we fuck up, he is still cool. And you can see that on the last stuff that we've done 2019 when Paul Gilbert was there, and we did time signature changes in front of while we're doing it, and Ralf, okay, I know, okay, I want to. So this is this big event. But now let's talk about the Kirstein event. So what will be the thing that?
Yeah. What is MusiConnect? So MusiConnect is basically our own trade show. It first. When was the first MusiConnect? In 2017, when Musikhaus Kirstein had his 30th anniversary. So this year we have the 35th anniversary of Kirstein, and we thought, it's maybe now a good time and a good idea to get back to some trade shows, get in contact with the people. And I mean, 5 years ago it was a 3-day show, and we had there were a lot of tents. And it was so big, and this time we said, okay, let's just start simple and just do one day. It's just Saturday, 17th of September, but we have a lot of great artists there. We have a lot of workshops. We have, of course, our whole sales team there. So check out our MusiConnect trade show. You will also be there.
Sure.
Of course,
Yeah.
AMPX will be there. So for those guys who are from the south of Germany, maybe, and you thought about going to Guitar Summit,
It's probably too far.
it's probably too far.
Then
And also the gas prices are very high.
come and see us.
Yeah,
You know,
you have a second chance to
see the MX,
see the AMPX,
and see us.
Thomas, see us together.
Yeah, in Schongau.
In Schongau.
Yeah, and I really enjoy these like events where people actually meet again, because after the COVID thing, you know, everybody was so isolated in their homes, and you know, people get crazy and start wars and shit. So I'm happy that we can actually talk and meet and feel and hear and get first-hand information. And I'm happy that dealers like what you are doing are actually spending that extra time and invest into the connection. It's called MusiConnect.
Yeah.
With the customers.
Yeah.
And I know that it is a lot of work for a company or a dealer. And this brings me to the philosophy. We all complain about the future of the music business, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, it's about the people that live and breathe that industry and do something for it.
Oh,
yeah.
It's actually
You know, it's like if you are only moaning and not doing anything for your customers, there is no reason why you exist. I mean, that's the cruel reality.
You gotta give your customers a reason why they should come to your store, why they should buy in your online store, web shop, or whatever you have.
Yeah.
And
that requires extra investment of the dealer.
Absolutely.
And otherwise, there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, how many people are working at Musikhaus Kirstein? Do you know?
I believe 160, 150, 160.
That's quite a big store.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do a lot of online business, right?
Yeah.
Of course, because but I think that's a modern way, because you are not in the biggest city. You cannot live off like Cologne, what is it, music store, where people go and visit Cologne and then visit a music store and buy a new guitar.
Yeah.
But you have learned, or the Musikhaus Kirstein has learned to prevent some extra value for the customer.
Yeah.
And if you give something, you have a feedback, and that's the kind of people, dealers, and things that I want to be involved in. And this is why, you know, Guitar Summit. When Guitar Summit started 4 years ago or whenever it was, nobody knew what it was. But I told the guys, you know what? I do everything I can for you, even for free. I don't care, because I want that to be a cool event.
And to be honest, just for me, I'm a purchase manager at Kirstein, and the Guitar Summit is for me because I have so many companies that I work with on a regular daily basis, and the Guitar Summit has become the best event to meet with them.
Yeah.
I mean, Music Messe Frankfurt is
dead.
It's over.
Yeah.
We all don't know what's gonna happen with the NAMM show.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future we won't have a NAMM show. So the Guitar Summit is a really, really good event to get in contact with all the people that I work with, and also of course to see all the nice people from the industry again.
I think that's so important because we are also humans in the industry.
Yeah.
You know, so when we go somewhere, it's great to see people that you probably bumped into 10 years ago or 20 years ago or just last year, and you see them again, and it's like, hey, this guy is cool. And I enjoy meeting the people because it kind of strengthens relationships in a way. And there's another thing. And then, you know, also the small talk that you sometimes have when you just bump into, hey, what about this? And there's a fresh idea that comes up, or maybe a collaboration or a new business contact or whatever. This is, in doing that in person has a different quality from doing it online. I mean,
Definitely.
I'm happy that I don't have to fly my ass off like in the good old days, where you had to be in person at everything, even if you talk to one guy.
Yeah.
This can be done remotely these days with a software, on Zoom meeting and whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm still so happy that we have events that we can meet in person, and this needs to be happening, and this is why, you know, all the dealers, like Musikhaus Kirstein and the Summit and the 6 and 4, they create their own events. That's what is needed. Otherwise, it's useless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super important. And so, what we're running out of time, but we have talking about AMPX, a few things. The AMPX will be at all the events. You know me, I'm never happy, I'm never finished with products, but eventually they come out. I'm still on the M1 here, but I just give you an example of what we are doing here lately. Do I have a guitar plugged into this? Where's the other day we worked on a tuner. So then you start with a tuner, and then you discover the world of tuners, and you discover how to make a great tuner, because we came to a point where we said, you know what, we start from scratch and we do the best tuner that we can ourselves. And that's why we're always running a bit late. Wait a minute, I'm looking for a cable that is plugged into the AMPX. So I just wanted to show you this as a sign of life. Press and hold this one. Can we see this? Oh, in tune. At this point, I'm not happy with the colors because this is grass green in a lousy way. But you can see we use the foot switches also to indicate, so even a blind man can see if you're out of tune. And in the next version we will have fading colors and more colors. And the other thing is, can you see this little display here? You see, you know, the note, and it is inspired by a little bit by our good old clip-on tuner from our TC friends, but in the end I've done my own design. So this is pixel shit that I created myself on the computer. So when everything is kind of in tune, you see the foot switches, but you also see the window here, and even when the flap is closed, you can see it through the window. Maybe I can put that. But I need a guitar to tune. Can I put this? Is this? Can you see this? So this. I hope you can see. Little things like that are happening, and this is the tap tempo. And there will be tons of exciting stuff, but I tell you, this project is the biggest ever, but it will come. And I will show it at the summit, even though it's not the super final version, but it is alive and kicking. And every day we get closer to the final version that we will see a few of by the end of the year. And then more by the beginning of next year. And yeah, exciting times coming. Any questions at this point? Hab meine Squire erst kürzlich Kirstein bekommen. Hey! Und schon mit Dummy Coil und Tone Switch getuned. By Hum. Okay, this is the dummy coil modification that I do on my Strats as well.
Hier aus der Nähe von Hans Platzheim hat es vermutlich die Entfernung zu Guitar Summit.
Okay, and then there's the picture we can't see. Oh, Erland Krauser, Lake, what is it? Wolldecke recommend to listen the voice within. Erland Krauser is a great guitar player. I totally dig what he's playing. He's using Kemper. He's a good friend of Tom Wendt and the Kemper family, both from Hamburg or living in Hamburg. And by the way, just talking about the industry, when I was on tour last week, I had 2 Kemper guys coming to the concert because the industry is so small. You know, like they have six engineers and 2 of them came and say hello and told me the first time I saw you in this music store, blah blah blah, and I was kind of a reason why they do the job they do now. I seem to inspire all kinds of people. Great. Der AMPX hat ja bald Reckmaße. Yeah, actually, it is 40 centimeters wide, and it is possible to get this.
To get a rack mount.
Yeah, it's in theory it's possible.
Okay. But that's not the idea of AMPX.
No, this is the idea of AMPX is put it on the floor.
Yeah.
And use the foot switches. And you can expand it with the wings and with an extra foot switch. So there's a way to connect more foot switches to it. I thought of that. The rack mount thing, maybe later. Do you have many requests for racks these days?
No.
Okay. I've been there and I'm happy that these days are over. But anyway, it's just like a free update with new gear for AMPX or only buying. There's of course a mixture of some stuff for the AMPX that is free as updates, and there will be other things that will that we have to pay. By the way, when I'm going to Tettnang to play there, in the morning I have an appointment with an owner of a dumble amp.
Oh.
So no, and I have 2 dumbles in my universe, and then you have to talk to the guys and see blah blah blah. But you know, you have to start early. So this is what I'm doing before the gigs. Stefan Krenrich, AMPX effects. Can I do?
Can it do synth?
Like
something
like octave fast, octave up, octave down.
Yeah.
No, I mean, well, let's put it that way. In theory, yes, but not at the beginning. That's something for later. The chip is capable of doing things like that, and while we already worked on the tuner, it's a topic to detect the pitch of something. Once you have the note pitch detection, you can easily create a synth for that as well. With our 16-core DSP, it's possible. So options are there. I'm not saying this is coming soon, but in theory, this is on the wish list for in 5 years. Put it that way. But you can have that pedal connected with it. Any other no-talk guitar and plugins reviews? Will you make an audio USB compliant? You can use the USB out slowly. You can use the USB out also for audio. So because we have written the driver or whatever is needed for that. My digital guys
Okay.
know all that shit. But USB is possible. Can you show us how Sound AMPX can be tuned in and saved? I'll do that later because I'm not happy with the operation thing. I have a few basic things. The only thing I'm happy to show you is like I have like 2 presets like on each button. So there's like the blue one, and then there is, when I hit the button the second time, I have a second preset.
Okay.
And the way I use it for myself is like there's my crunch channel and then there's my crunch effects channel.
Okay.
So yeah, that's something you can use that function. It's
But
an option
could you have 2 presets based on different amps?
on
amp sounds?
anything.
On
I can have one preset being whatever clean and the other one the dirtiest
Okay.
modern, whatever you want can be
Okay.
there. But it's like each switch can have 2 presets, not like the MS3 where you just have the sound of the amp and then change the effects.
Yeah.
With this, anything can happen.
Okay.
2 presets. And then, some people have a situation where they have like the weirdest stuff and then they don't want to give away too many foot switches. So they have that kind of, one thing with their secret effects switches here as 2 presets. That makes sense, for instance. Okay. Whammy. Yes, whammy, but later, because for whammy, this is another pitch detection. What is it called? The this thing, FFT-Analyse, whatever that is in English. Frequency Fourier. It is the method how to detect the pitch, so you are able to create a whammy. That's all on our wish list for later.
Yeah. Let me just give
Yeah.
David an answer on his question.
Where's
he asked
David?
for how big is the difference between Kirstein and Session in the electric guitar department?
Oh, you know both.
Yeah.
Because you've been there.
But that's I don't even want to answer that question because you got to understand I worked for Session years ago and I definitely know what the differences are between those 2 companies, but forgive me, but I won't maybe we can talk when we meet at Guitar Summit. I will answer you that question, but not here on the channel.
Yeah. Well, let's put it that way. I think every company has a slightly different spirit. And it's like people.
Yeah.
People make companies, and companies are some animal. And so every company is different, and therefore you have to pick your dealer or...
Absolutely. And I mean, at Session I worked as a sales manager. At Kirstein I am working as a purchase manager. So it's a different look on the companies.
Sure. And I mean, we both have seen companies from the inside, outside, I mean, using Cat now,
Yeah.
we both
Yeah.
been. And I mean, other companies too, and maybe for you guys that don't work in the industry, it's like when you go to a restaurant and you always are seated and somebody asks you for a
Yes.
cold drink, that's one thing. But the moment you go to the kitchen and see the mice running, and it's like, now I know why it tastes so great. No, anyway, but it is all about people, and this is why that's a thing.
But I have a question.
Oh yeah, please. For me?
For you.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
What's going on with the blue box?
Well, I tell you, the blue box situation is like that. So the chips that we are using in blue box, there's 2 chips in there that are actually kind of not available anymore.
Okay.
And we had massive. Well, we didn't get any, and then finally we got a few, only a few, that we had to pay for super high prices. So the problem is, we have a final production one with a blue box as it is, and we are not making any money on this anymore because so we are pleasing a few customers just because we can in a way, but we will, as soon as this AMPX is out, we will do a follow-up of the blue box with the little brother of that chip. Because in the AMPX there will be, of course, 5 blue boxes because the chip has so many cores and outputs and all this. So, and then we will take that chip and put that in the same kind of concept, but with additional features without losing our concept. We don't want to go and make the blue box super deluxe. We want to keep the blue box as simple as possible, but have a few extra features using our chip, which will be then some update possibilities. So that's all in planning. But unfortunately, we wish we could produce more, but shortage of components is an issue. And we're paying so much attention to buying stuff for AMPX so that actually when the production comes that we have stock to produce stuff. If there's only one part missing, we cannot deliver. And this is a nightmare for every manufacturer. And I hope we're not suffering from this. And therefore we pre-ordered a lot of long-time lead components and stuff since the beginning of the year and even longer. So, and it's not the best time to do that. You know what? What's going on? Last question. The brown sound means dark, organic, and warm. Yes, Peter Schäfer. I agree. At least that's what I understand on this. New blue box coming in 24. Yes, that is feasible. I'm not 100% sure, but that could be the way. The brown note is different from the brown sound. Cool Ninja, I love it. Yeah, they were. So I think we have to play our last song for the. I'm loud as fuck. Maybe. Okay, I would say we're good to go. And we just before we listened to the backing track and found out, man, it's totally different from the record. So somebody was fooling us. And we have notes that we have that we play something differently in order to make it weak, but to make ends meet. So guys, let's see if we will survive this. So you had sound, I had sound. Backing track has no sound because I have to open this, press this like here. Oh yeah, so back to the 80s. And for me, it's the rehearsal for the summit because this is what I will play with Jeff Loomis. So you do the Jeff and I do the Blugie backup guitar player. Okay.
I try my best.
Okay, let's see how this goes before the neighbors kill us with heavy rock music or Prince of Darkness. I don't know, but hey, we survived. Cool. Thank you very much for joining in today. We will have, of course, a lot of events coming up to meet in person. This is the good news. And of course, I will continue with live streams. Next week is Perfetto de Castro. Maybe you know him as well. Filipino based in LA. I've been at his place, killer player. He's and he's coming for the summit. Right now he's in the Philippines, and he will come here. And we had long, nice talks with him in LA when I met him. And then there's all the events, and I will drive to beautiful Schongau on the 17th of September.
And if the weather is fine, you will have a nice look at the Alps.
Yeah. That's the thing about Germany. I mean, if Richie Blackmore comes for Neuschwanstein, I mean, and puts this on a rainbow cover, I mean, basically, this is the inspiration for it. It has something. That's something about German. Maybe it's kitsch in a way, but on the other hand, it's actually true. It has always two sides, and it's impressive. So that kind of area in Germany has some beauty. I'm all in for that. Yeah. So, somebody says Perfetto is a killer player. I have to agree. So
I have to check him out.
Yeah, prepare your questions for next week, and then I'll have fun with him. And what is ultimate instead of working? This night is gonna do the ultimate sin, and instead of barking at the moon, I'll take my squire playing some stuff. Okay.
That's cool.
I remember when that album came out, I was always more the vintage kind of guy, but I was teaching guitars. And my guitar student came to me and said, "Can you show me how this works?" I'm like, fuck, maybe not. So I went back home and learned a little bit of that, and then I could show him at least enough to keep him busy. But this was a step up in guitar technique. With Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen and these great players. It was a shock for the electric rock guitar, I believe. So hey, thank you very much. Thank you, Manuel, again for coming here. It's always a great pleasure.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure for me to make an episode with you. Yeah,
we'll have some future stuff already. And then wet, dry, wet and stuff. When this is finished, we can do stereo. Which is another thing that Manuel is doing a lot. So thanks for joining in. See you all next week and have a good one. I wish we get some rain for the rain is good for the garden. That's a very important phrase, which is proper English. The rain is good for the garden, but it's also proper Saarländisch, which is our local dialect. The rain is good for the garden. It's like my house is green. So I'm collecting these phrases. If you have more, let us know in the comments below. Then I have new titles for new records. Okay. Okie doke. Cheers, guys. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.